Women's swimming and diving with their best showing in 9 seasons at the NEISDA Championships. Men's hockey inches closer to locking up the number 1 seed for the conference tournament at the end of the month. An indoor track and field for both the men's and women's teams with great showings in the final tune-up before the Little East Conference Championships. All that and more coming up on this week's edition of Panther Rewind. Hello, Panther Nation. Welcome to another edition of Panther Rewind, brought to you by Biederman's Deli. I'm Dan Salzer, alongside my partner and Chris Kilmer, as always. Let's get right to the action.
Women's swimming and diving finished 12th at the NEISDA Championships to post its best showing in 9 seasons. Senior Casey Allaire won a pair of silver medals, junior Cami Terrell took home a bronze, and sophomore Madeline Svetten set and reset records in the 50 and 100-yard backstroke. Allaire capped off a brilliant career with second-place finishes in both 1-meter and 3-meter diving to claim the final LEC Diver of the Week award of the season. Over her career, she's won 4 golds, 3 silvers, and 1 bronze at the NEISDA Championships, solidifying her spot as one of the best divers in program history. Terrell also had a strong weekend, earning bronze in the 50-yard butterfly with a season-best time. She also qualified for the B finals of the 50-yard freestyle and 100-yard IM. Svetten rewrote the record books in the 50 and 100-yard backstroke. She claimed a new program best during her leg of the 100-yard medley relay, then topped it in both the prelims and finals to finish 4th in the 100-yard backstroke. In addition, she set and reset the record in the 50-yard backstroke while finishing 5th, while also reaching the A finals of the 200-yard backstroke. Sophomore Ellie Wilson won the B finals of the 400-yard IM to establish a new personal record by more than 22 seconds, while also appearing in the B finals of the 200-yard breaststroke. Additionally, the Panthers' 200-yard freestyle, 200-yard medley, and 400-yard medley relay teams all qualified for the B finals. The meet marks the end of a remarkable season for the Panthers. The team went 6-3 in dual meets, marking the second most wins in the last decade, placed 4th at the Little East Conference Championships, the best showing since 2006-07, and the 12th place finish at NEISDA's was its highest since 2009-2010.
After going 2-0 this past week, the men's hockey team now sits at 12-9-2 overall, 12-3-1 in conference play, and are inching closer to locking up that number 1 seed for the conference tournament at the end of the month. The Panthers kicked off the week at home in an offensive showcase against the Owls of Westfield State in a battle for the top spot in the standings. PSU would use a 6-goal second period to power pass Westfield 8-1. It was an exciting opening period, but the Panthers would hold a 2-1 lead at the break, thanks to freshman Miles Abbott's 13th goal of the season and Jacob Lauren netting his 4th goal of the year. Peter Laviolette would lead the barrage on offense in the second period with his 3-point period with 2 goals and an assist as the Panthers ran the Owls out of Hanaway Rink. While senior Andreas Pettersson got the start in the win-in goal, improving his record to 10-4-2 this season, it was sophomore Ben Parker who stole the show in the third period for his first appearance as a Panther since joining the team at the midpoint of last season. Parker entered the game in the third with his team on the penalty kill and was perfect in net, stopping all 15 shots he faced in the final frame. Saturday saw PSU travel to Worcester State for a matchup with the Lancers. For the 4th straight game, the offense was showcased as junior Jake Gerbner recorded his first career hat trick to lead the Panthers to the 5-2 win. It was the Lancers who struck first, though, just 6 minutes into the game. However, the Panthers would score 4 unanswered goals, 2 of them being on the power play, to extend the lead to 4-1 after 2. Gerbner would ice the game with an empty net goal with 30 seconds remaining. For their efforts, Pettersson was named the Geico Mascat Goalie of the Week, while Gerbner picked up the Player of the Week honors. Gerbner finished the week with 4 goals, while Pettersson posted a 1.80 goals against average and a .941 save percentage in 100 minutes played. The Panthers are on the road this week at UMass Dartmouth on Thursday before wrapping up the regular season on Tuesday at home against Salem State.
Women's ice hockey wrapped up the NEHC regular season with a 1-2 week to claim the number 7 seed for this weekend's first round of the NEHC tournament. PSU dropped a 3-1 decision at Johnson & Wales on Wednesday, but rebounded for a crisp 4-1 victory over Salem State on Senior Day last Friday. The Panthers closed out the NEHC regular season schedule at Suffolk on Saturday, where the Rams skated to a 5-1 win. Freshman Taylor Thomas scored her first career goal to give the Panthers a 1-0 lead at Johnson & Wales, but the Wildcats followed with 3 unanswered goals to skate to the 3-1 win. Fittingly, it was the senior class leading the way on Senior Day, as the soon-to-be graduates accounted for 7 of the team's 10 points. Alexis Fagan, Julie Nagel, Eleanor Hudson, and Caitlin Connor all found the back of the net, with Nagel, Allie Louie, and Amanda McPherson picking up assists. Fagan continued her outstanding senior campaign with a first-period goal, but the Vikings came back to even things 6:32 into the second. Nagel put the Panthers back in front just 90 seconds later, and Hudson and Connor both scored in a 20-second span to put the game out of reach. On Saturday, Suffolk got out to a 5-0 lead before freshman Addie Swanson spoiled the shutout bid with her 3rd goal of the year late in the 3rd period. Plymouth State visits Williams College tonight for one final tune-up before the NEHC playoffs this weekend. As the 7th seed, Plymouth State heads to 2nd-seeded Castleton for a 4 o'clock contest on Saturday in a rematch of last year's quarterfinal game, won by the Spartans 2-1.
Women's basketball dropped another pair of LEC contests this past week, dropping their record to 4-19 overall and 0-14 in the LEC. Senior Alex Ricard led the Panthers on Wednesday night with a trip to Southern Maine. Ricard went 7 of 8 from the floor to score a career-high 15 points, but the Huskies used a 23-11 third-quarter run to pull away for the win 68-46. The Panthers shot 27.9% from the floor and pulled down a strong 34 rebounds while netting 14 points in the paint. Unfortunately, their 22 turnovers led to 32 points for the hosts as USM added 36 points off the bench to power past PSU. Freshman Autumn Nelson added 8 points and 8 rebounds in her 8th straight start of the season in the setback. It was a strong showing for PSU as the Panthers traveled to league-leading Eastern Connecticut State this past Saturday. Freshman Alessia Salzillo had a career game, netting 23 points and picking up 3 assists. PSU trailed by 3 after the first quarter 12-9 and were able to trim a double-digit Warrior lead in the second to 27-23 at the half, thanks to Salzillo netting a jumper and a couple of free throws, and moments later classmate Sarah Sweet connecting from deep. PSU continued to keep it close in the third quarter, trailing 45-38, but Eastern Connecticut's offense was too strong in the final 10 minutes, outscoring the Panthers 22-9 on their way to a 67-47 win. Freshman Bella Earl added 9 points and 5 rebounds, while senior Shanice Hill pulled down a team-high 7 boards in the loss. PSU returns home for the final 2 games of the season tonight at 5:30 against Castleton before hosting UMass Boston on Saturday for Senior Day with a 1 p.m. tip-off.
It's been a wild season for the men's basketball team. After sitting 1-4 in the LEC back on January 11th, the Panthers won 6 of 7 conference games to leapfrog to the top of the conference. After suffering 2 narrow defeats last week, the Panthers enter the final week of the regular season fighting for their playoff lives. On Wednesday, Plymouth State traveled to Southern Maine, coming up just short in a 68-62 setback. The game was deadlocked at 51 with just over 5 minutes to play, but the Huskies hit from downtown and would lead the rest of the way. PSU trailed by just 3 with 2 minutes left, and after a 4-0 spurt by Southern Maine, a 3-pointer made it a 63-59 game with a minute to go, but the Huskies were solid from the free throw line down the stretch to hold off the comeback. Senior Jalen Leroy poured in a game-high 22 points and pulled down 6 rebounds, while sophomore Dante Rivera added 14 points and 4 boards in the setback. On Saturday, the Panthers visited Eastern Connecticut. The game was tight throughout the first 30 minutes, but the Warriors used a 10-0 spurt to pull away late in the second half. PSU kept within striking distance, though, and a pair of Leroy triples pulled the Panthers to within 5, 75-70 with a minute to go. But once again, the home team was clutch from the free throw line to earn the 78-70 win. Leroy led all scorers with 26 points, while freshman Kevin Henry chipped in 13 points and a team-high 8 rebounds. Currently tied for the final playoff spot, the Panthers host a pair of huge conference games this week. Castleton comes to town on Wednesday before UMass Boston visits Foley Gymnasium for Senior Day on Saturday. Plymouth State is assured of a playoff spot with 2 wins.
Wrestling had their strongest showing of the season, finishing 3rd out of 16 teams at the Henry Marsh Invitational at the University of New Hampshire this past Saturday. Freshmen Trevor O'Mara and Noah Gifford each went undefeated in their weight classes, while junior Kevin Thomas and freshman Noel Rodriguez placed for PSU. O'Mara was dominant at 149 pounds after going 3-0, winning by technical fall 19-1 in his opening bout before recording back-to-back pins to win his class. Gifford needed only 18 seconds to win by fall against his first opponent at 197 pounds and added wins by decision and a sudden victory win to claim the title in his weight class. Thomas split a pair of decisions on his way to a third-place finish at 184 pounds, while Rodriguez finished 2-2 to place fourth at 133 pounds. PSU was off for 2 weeks before competing at the NCAA Division III Northeast Regional Championships on February 29th and March 1st at the Rhode Island Convention Center.
The ski teams had a solid weekend at the Williams Carnival, with especially strong performances from junior Cooper Yates, sophomore Hunter Watson, and freshman Cameron Metzger. All three finished among the top 15 in Friday's GS races, while the trio were also all top 20 finishers in Saturday's slalom. Watson led the PSU contingent both days, taking 9th in the GS and 13th in the slalom, while Yates wasn't far behind with a 15th place in the GS and a 16th in the slalom. Senior Carl Koos and junior Ander Gonzalez also secured points for the Panthers as the men finished 6th as a team in the GS, while Gonzalez and freshman Liam McKim were point scorers for the team's 5th place showing in the slalom. On the ladies' side, it was Metzger doing the heavy lifting once again, taking 13th in the GS and finishing 19th in the slalom. On Friday, she sat in 23rd following her opening run, but she threw down a great second run, the 4th fastest of the day, to leapfrog all the way up to 13th. Freshman Zoe Simpson added a 42nd place finish as the women finished tied for 10th in the team scoring. Metzger posted the top finish for the women for the 7th time in 10 races after her 19th place finish in Saturday's slalom. She was the lone racer to complete both runs. The Panthers are off this weekend before closing out the carnival season at the NCAA East Regionals and EISA Championships at Middlebury College Snow Bowl, February 28th and 29th.
The men's and women's indoor track and field teams competed this past weekend in strong fashion at the David Henry Valentine Invitational at Boston University in the non-team scoring meets. Friday saw the women's team set 2 more program records, with senior Eve Bagley and sophomore Claire Greineder representing PSU in the meet that showcased the top collegiate athletes from all 3 NCAA divisions and Canada. Bagley finished 2nd in her section of the 800-meter run with an impressive performance. Her time of 2:24.92 was just under 3 seconds faster than her previous mark set from a month ago. Greineder, who was one of 242 competitors in the 400-meter dash, took the 80th place finish with her time of 58.77 to win her section, topping her own record from 2 weeks ago by more than 2 seconds. Saturday saw the men's team in action as 9 members of the team made the trip. Freshman Colin Moore, Michael Barrett, Brent Coop, and sophomore Kyle Mao all recorded season-best times in their 800-meter runs. Moore sliced more than 5 seconds off his previous time to lead PSU in the event. Sophomore Matt Lyle and freshman Luke Gomes finished 4th and 5th, just 0.22 seconds apart, while running together in the 1,000. Gomes finished with a time of 2:38.40, more than 7 seconds better than his previous mark, while Lyle shaved 3 seconds off his season-best time. Freshman Michael Olson notched a personal record in the mile with a time of 4:29.08, besting his previous mark by more than 5 seconds. Both teams will have their full complement of athletes this weekend as the Panthers compete at the Little East Conference Championships this Saturday at Southern Maine. That will do it for this week's edition of Panther Rewind. Fans, be sure to show off your Panther pride at the Final 4 basketball regular season home games this week, and we'll see you inside Foley Gymnasium.